As we all know, Girls und Panzer is, basically, a sports story, and a damn good one at that. However, like pretty much every sports story in this vein, it had to confront a difficult question at a certain point. Where do you go after winning the big game? Today we'll be talking about how Das Finale has handled this question perfectly. Of course, spoilers ahead, especially for Season 1 and their film. Also, this video will probably be a mix of still images and clips as opposed to being almost all clips like usual, since I'm still very crunched for time this week. But I really wanted to get something out in honor of Das Finale 4 releasing on Friday. Before we get deeper into the topic at hand though, this video is brought to you by my own military moe manga, Amaranth Angels. In the future, humanity is expanding into space. Stein Shizawa is a starfighter pilot prodigy, flying alongside her big sister and their close friend. However, following a sudden tragedy, Saya only wants to run as far from the cockpit as she can. Fate, however, has other ideas. You can read the prologue chapter which details the events leading up to Saya's decision on Webtoons for free, and my Patreon subscribers can read ahead. If you enjoy Girls und Panzer, High School Fleet, and the military moe genre in general, you'll love this too. It's currently funding on Kickstarter, so go check out the various reward tiers and add-ons. We've got an alternate cover version, standees, and several exciting premium tiers. A 200-page manga volume about cute girls, their cool starfighters, exciting space battles, and more. What's not to love? And yes, this is a teaser trailer featuring original animation for it. Give the campaign a look and back it today. There are just a couple weeks left to go. Sports stories, especially team sports stories, tend to follow a general pattern. We have an underdog team, one that shouldn't be able to win in a big tournament, league, etc., against much more experienced, established teams. But with great determination, teamwork, and key members of the team overcoming their personal struggles, they triumph. To adapt this to Girls und Panzer, we have Ori taking part in the tournament, as Miho deals with her past trauma and facing down her intimidating sister, and also Hana trying to convince her mother that Senshido is a good thing. And as we all know, by the end of the season, they do accomplish that. And then, after the government double-cross, they win the true big game against the university team, and once and for all, save the school. Mission accomplished. But then what? Once you reach that big story climax, you really only have two options. End it there, or find a good reason to keep going. In most cases, the best choice is, honestly, to end it. The story has reached its natural conclusion. You can't up the stakes further without things getting repetitive and boring. It comes off as dragging out the story for no good reason, and it's usually not a good thing. For example, if Girls und Panzer had tried to up the stakes again, and make another series about everyone needing to save Ori from being shut down again, it wouldn't be good writing. You're not going to one-up the Dare film stakes and the scale of that battle. However, for a variety of reasons, the show decided to continue. And, while calling it a series at Dare film would have been satisfying, I'm sure happy it continued. But they had to figure out what direction to take things in. And, fortunately, because the writers are so great on this show, they figured out how to do it right. To put it simply, they don't try and repeat what they've already done, but rather expand things, which is really what you have to do in this kind of situation. What I mean by that is, if you think back to Season 1 and also Dare film, things were pretty squarely focused on Miho and Anglerfish team. While everyone was invested and involved in the quest to save the school, of course, the main personal conflicts were all centered around them. However, by the end of Dare film, these conflicts are pretty much resolved. Hana's with her mother, and Miho's with Maho and Erika. And while there probably needs to be a final, full reconciliation between Miho and her mom, she and Miho are well on the way there too, and focusing on that again would have been a mistake. So, it moves on, and expands outward in two main ways. First, of course, we have the new cause to fight for, Momo getting into university. As such, the show gives her some additional focus, and we have a driving motivation. But while this is important, and good in that we have a new goal for the team, with its own unique wrinkles such as Momo now being the team commander on paper, that really isn't enough to carry Das Finale alone. At least not without manufacturing forced drama, which is something Girls und Panzer avoids. So, what else can you do to continue the story of Ori now that they're no longer fighting for survival, and a respected powerhouse rather than an underdog? Well, expand again, and make Das Finale not a story about Ori overcoming the odds once again, but rather on showing us how Ori and its success has positively impacted others in the realm of Senshido. Ori as an inspiration and as a positive example. Because Ori's win was about more than just the school surviving. It was about showing other teams that there were more ways to compete in Senshido than they previously thought. And we see the impact this has had through a number of teams in Das Finale. The biggest one, obviously, being Chiatan. We already saw them starting to learn a new, more effective way of fighting, but still sort of within the limits of their traditions, back in Dare film, and this, facilitated in large part by Fukuda and her friendship with the Duck team, continues in a big way. They're pretty open about Ori having been a big influence on their new direction too. And beyond that, Nishi and Ko pledging to give their best against Ori despite being massive underdogs, and then doing very well in the battle despite ultimately losing, just further speaks to the inspiration Ori served as, especially to teams like Chiatan, which had struggled to win for a while. And Zio too we see has developed some new tactics, and has newfound determination following the events of their film, and it's fair to say that Ori had a hand in that as well. And of course, we can't forget about Maho and Erika. Do you think that, prior to Ori defeating Kuro Morimine, and then the events of their film, that Maho would have told Erika something like, find your own Senshiro? Or that Erika would be even willing to abandon the very strict Nishizumi style that Maho had used in favor of her own, more mobile strategy that utilizes more light tanks? I don't think the odds of that are particularly high. So once again, we see the impact that Ori and Miho and crew have had on others. It's not by happenstance that in DOS Finale we spend a lot more time with more peripheral members of the large ensemble cast, such as with opposing teams during matches. As I mentioned earlier, while Season 1 of Girls on Panzer, and to a lesser degree their film, was fairly tightly focused first on Miho and Anglerfish team and then on Ori, DOS Finale is about, to varying degrees, all the people who've played a part in that story, and the growth they've achieved thanks to our primary protagonists. Because Girls on Panzer was never just about a plucky upstart team beating the odds and finding a way to win. It's about much more than that. About love of the game, about bettering oneself through Senshiro, both in regard to Senshiro performance and in life outside of Senshiro, and making and repairing relationships through the sport. Because while winning in sports is great, enjoying it, and the people you bond with through it, is ultimately the bigger benefit. And Girls on Panzer doesn't forget that. This being the Ikar, as we'd say in Hebrew, the central most important aspect, is why Girls on Panzer succeeds in taking its sports story past the point where most sports stories stumble if they don't stop, and while it's managed to maintain its high quality while keeping us very invested and excited for every new DOS Finale installment, despite the wait time, and what makes Girls on Panzer such a special show. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support me and what I do here, the best way to do that right now is to go back Amaranth Angels on Kickstarter. It's my single biggest creative project yet, and you'll be getting a great original manga in return, one which I hope will be a worthy addition to the military moe genre we all enjoy so much. There will be some more cool reveals, and potentially new add-on options added over the course of the campaign, so make sure to watch the space. And of course, if you have any thoughts on this video, or just anything Girls on Panzer related you'd like me to talk about, make sure to share them below in the comments section. I'd love to hear them, and I read every comment, and I do my best to respond to as many as I can eventually. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. That's all for now, so until next time.